and welcome to Tuesdays with Annette. I'm so glad you've joined me today because we're doing another fabulous recipe from the Simply Too Good to Be True series. We're delving into book 7, that's right, fabulous book, and we're going Greek today. So it's the Symanaki prawns, which you might know as Symanaki prawns, but of course I love to change things around and I call it Symanaki. So this is what we're making today, and I hope you've downloaded the recipe from the website and you've got your ingredients like me all ready to go, because I think your family's going to love this recipe. But before we get into anything, let's go and wash our hands. That's right. We've got to keep up with the tradition of the 20-second wash. And I'm excited to cook this recipe for you because it's so easy and so delicious. It's just something different. I mean, you know, meat and free veg, it's boring. Alrighty. Nice and clean. And, you know, just note, remember on Thursdays when I do my Thursday with Annette, I actually wash my hands before the show. But I like us to do everything together. So we've got a lot of chopping, a lot of stuff to do today. So I hope you're ready. But before we get into this recipe, let's talk about last week's show, which was the cheesy bread, spinach bread dip. It went off. It was fabulous. But we only had one fabulous person put a photo up of their dip. I know. Where were you all? Where were the photos? I mean, it would have been perfect for last weekend's with Father's Day. But you know what? Our lucky winner was Lisa West. So good on you, Lisa. And you'll get a person-signed copy of Book 3. And you know what? If you put a photo up of today's recipe, you could be in the draw to win a prize like Lisa. So, Symanaki prawns. Fabulous recipe. We need a lot of fresh ingredients for this one because it is that. So I've got lots of fresh basil here, and we're going to chop that up, and we need a cup of that, but we need the basil. I've got oregano, or oregano I should say, from my garden. We've got a punnet of cherry tomatoes, as well as 500 grams of the Trust tomatoes. I just think they're a little bit more flavoursome, and that's why I mix the two up, because it's all about that beautiful tomato sauce with this recipe. We're doing, fresh garlic. I know, I'm already looking at it going, please, I've got to chop that all up and peel it. What a pain. But I think with this recipe, it deserves the really fresh garlic. But if you're like me, and I'd love to shortchange it and just use the crushed in the jar, do it. I've got some Kalamata olives. Is that how you say it, Bill? Kalamata? And I've got 1/3 cup, and we've got to slice them. I need a cup of onion. We need 4 tablespoons of the no added salt tomato paste. I've got 1/2 cup of water, and we're going to put some plonk in this one. And just remember, the alcohol will get out of it once it's cooked. So it's still good to give to the kids. It's 1/2 cup of dry white wine. We've got some pepper. I've got some chili powder, and you only put 1/4 teaspoon in. So up to you if you want to have a little bit of heat to it or not, your choice. As well as we've got the reduced fat feta. And the prawns. I've got 400 grams of raw peeled prawns. Now, if you're saying to me, Annette, I'm sorry, no, I don't like prawns, don't hang up on me now, okay? Because I will tell you later how to do it with chicken. That's right, I love to give you options. So I've got a scraper, got a couple of measure spoons. I've got some scissors in case I need them for the herbs. I've got a spoon as well as a wooden spoon. I've got measure cups, I've got my chopping board, I've got my heating pan, and if you might notice, I've got my near-flamme wok, and you'll see there's a lid on it. That's right, I'll tell you about that shortly. And cooking spray and pepper. I think we're good to go. Are you ready to start? So what I'm thinking to do is let's get these herbs done first. So I need a cup of fresh basil. I mean, there's something phenomenal about fresh herbs. I just love them. So what you're going to do, are you doing with me now? You're taking all the leaves off. You might have been clever and done it before we started the show. So you're just standing there waiting. But the idea is, we need a cup. And I don't know, I've never done this with dried basil. I just think it really deserves fresh, because this is a fresh dish. It's one of those ones that just really are a joy to eat. And we want to get rid of all these stalks, stems, whatever you want to call them. We don't need them in the mix. We just want the leaves. How am I looking here? Do you reckon I've got a cup? Let's give it a go, shall we? So have you got all your leaves ready? So all you have to do with this, nothing's hard to do, okay? But what you'll do is you just gather it all up. There's my measure spoon. Get my trusty Neo-Flam and slice. That's right. We're just going to chop it up. Some people like to actually break up their herbs with their hands. But this, by chopping it, you activate the flavours. Like, you should smell what's coming off this chopping board right now. It's all about basil. Now what you'll do is you'll go back, and you know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. This is what this dish is. It's all about easy peasy. All right, so now we need to measure, so we've got enough. So let's get them in and measure. I tend to push it down so I get the right amount, and I think we've done well. All right, so now the basil is done. Let's get the oregano. Now with oregano, I tend to just pull it. We don't chop these because they're little leaves, and I just pull them off the stalk, and then we just have them to go in, because see how little the leaves are? They're so much smaller than the basil. And oregano is just such a beautiful herb, and these are, you know, the basil and the Greek, for the Greek food, it just brings it alive, all the fresh herbs. And we want half a cup, so I'm going to just keep adding that in. So all you're doing right now is prepping up your herbs. Just pull it off and into your measure cup. As I said, we need half a cup of fresh oregano. Hello, if you've just joined me, we're going to Greece today in our minds, because none of us can really go there right now. So I'm making Symanaki prawns, or what I call it is Symanaki. That's right. I've got a few dishes where I do that. I've got beef chow sim, strawberries, romanette. I don't know. I have a quirky little side to me. So let's get our oregano. And then what we'll do after that is we're going to chop up the tomatoes and the garlic and onion. And as I said before, you know, you can make it with chicken. So hang with me on that one. Let's have a look. Half a cup. I think just a little bit more, because it's a mild herb. It's not as strong as the basil, I don't think. So just pulling it off. And I think we're good. So I'm going to just put those over there for the moment. Going to tidy up your bench. I'm not like chefs where they have such a, you know, clean as they go. I just go, oh, let's just shove it to the side and we'll worry about it later. So now I wanted to get the cherry tomatoes and just simply cut them in half. I don't know whether I'm a bit anal, but I tend to chop it from the middle there. I go down the little stalk mark, or whatever you want to call it, and you just chop them in half. And someone asked me the other day, why are you doing 2 different tomatoes in this dish? And I said, well, because you can. Hello, why not? Because these are smaller, you'll get a lot of this, like you'll be able to pick them up as they are halved. What am I doing? But with the other tomatoes, the truss tomatoes, we're going to dice them, as it says in the recipe. And I love the truss because they just seem to me a little bit more flavoursome than normal tomatoes. So they're always my favourite choice when I'm buying tomatoes, but it's a tomato bit of heaven with this recipe. So let's own the best tomatoes we can And I always think the darker the tomato, the better it is. I don't know, I could be wrong on that. All right, we're done. There's all our cherry tomatoes ready to go in the pot shortly. And now it's the truss. Now, the truss, you can see you've got the green bit to it. That'll show you that you're on the right tomato. And I'm going to just use my paring knife, and I'm just going to quickly just take out that little bit. The core, do you always take your core out? Isn't it funny? I know someone who doesn't, and I always think it's a bit odd. But I suppose it's not dirty or anything. So anyone got an answer to why we do that? I don't know. All right, so now what you're going to do is dice the tomatoes. I've got my bowl here. So I tend to cut it in slices, cut in half, and then dice. So I want you to dice up your 500 grams of truss tomatoes, put them back in the bowl because we'll be using them in the recipe shortly. And you know, it's just one of those recipes that I just love. Now, I remember a couple of years ago, I donated a prize to Give Me Five for Kids on the radio at Sunshine Coast. And it was, you won me and my Billy to come to your place and cook for 8 people. Entree, main, dessert, you bring the wine. And I remember this lovely lady, she had her friends over. It was a wild day. It was a lunch on a Saturday. And I made the Symanaki prawns as the entree. And we had a beautiful big, you know, bowl thing and crusty bread, because that's what really goes well with it. You can do pasta or rice with it, but the Greeks love the crusty bread with this, and they just tucked in, so much so that they said they were full from just that. And we had 2 more courses to go. I was a bit worried, but you know what? They were little troopers. They got through it. Actually, funny enough, that day we went to Greece with the Symanaki prawns. Then for the main, it was chicken pizziola. So we went to Italy. And then the dessert was French, and it was strawberries romanette. I know, I wanted to be at that dinner table, not sitting there in the kitchen cooking. All right, so now we've got them done. Let's now, I might just get the liquid off my board. So you've chopped up, you've got your basil chopped up, you've got your oregano leaves ready. We've done our tomatoes, so let's now do the onion. We want a cup, so get your onion and peel it. And really, there's not a lot to do. Now, with the prawns, when I do Thai dishes, I tend to open them up. And I've shown you how to do that on the show. So if you're one of my loyals that have been watching me for a while, you would know how to do that. And we're going to dice it. So get through like Annette does it. But with this Greek dish, I actually tend to leave the prawns as they are. And so it's just another easy job done. Don't have to worry about it. But in Thai cooking, I tend to open the prawns up. But you could do that if you wanted to. All right, we want a cup. Let's measure that. Are you keeping up with me, Dale? Well, hello if you just joined me. We're doing Greece today, and we're doing Symanaki prawns, which you might know as Saganaki. All right, so there's that done. We've just got to chop up some olives as well, and the garlic. Yes, I'm doing real garlic today. Now remember, if you're not sure, this recipe is on the website, so you can always get it if you didn't get time to get it all today, and you're looking at it now thinking, ooh, I might make that. You know, it's funny, I tend to not use fresh garlic in much because I used to find that when I needed it, it would often be old and puffed out and there was no garlic left. And I just found that the jarred was just easy. And hello, I'm all about easy peasy, that's for sure. But with this one, I thought the Greeks that are watching would go, yes, Annette, we want fresh. So let's get all that out of the way. Have you got your garlic pieces ready? Or, as I said, if you haven't got it and you just want to use the jarred, then it's a tablespoon. Alrighty. So now we're going to just chop up the garlic. So I'm just going to cut it into strips. You could, if you've got a garlic crusher, you could probably do that. But I'm going to just chop all this. So I need a tablespoon, which is of course my 15 mil. Oh my gosh, this garlic smells fabulous. Now this recipe is suitable to be frozen, so if it's enough for 4 people, so there's plenty there, but you know, if there's only 2 of you, then either have it for dinner in a couple of days or you can freeze it to enjoy it at a later date. Now the fat count is amazing. Yeah, it's so much lower than the traditional. So let's get our tablespoon of crushed garlic. Fabulous. And I think all I've got to do now is the olives. Now I've measured up 1/3 cup, so have you got your olives out? Now if you're saying to me, oh no, can't do olives in it, well then don't, okay? Just leave it out. So I'm just slicing them. I don't want them too thin, just like I'm doing probably 3 slices to an olive. I bought these out of a jar and just measured 1/3 cup, remember? But I kind of feel like if you're going to go to Greece, you got to do olives. It's just tomato, olives, onion, garlic. It's just how they do it. And of course the feta. And normally it would be very high in fat. I'll tell you how much that is in a minute. So, as I said, I'm cutting them into, say, 3, and we add them later on. There we go. So there is olives done. And all I have to do now, and I might just swap knives, is I'm going to do the feta. Now I've got 50 grams of feta. And it's the reduced fat, okay? This is where Annette comes in and changes things. So this is part of the thing. This is a very interesting recipe because traditionally what they do is they put the feta in at the end like I'm going to, and it just absorbs into it. See, I've just diced that into little dice. And that's one way I've been able to really save on the fat count because full fat feta is very high in fat. It's, you know, not a bad fat, but one that you've got to be aware of, especially because in Symanaki, they might do like 150 grams. We did 50. All right, so let's move this out of the way. I'm going to wash my little hands. Now, are you up with me, honey? Are you there? Okay, so I'm excited because we're going to start cooking. So let's move this over. And if you've noticed, I'm using the Neoflam pan and I've got a lid now. Yes, that's right. And this recipe, you need to have a pan that has a lid because we're going to cook it off as we go. So let's start. I'm going to use the special rice bran cooking spray. And you add the onion and that fabulous garlic. There we go. This can go into my soapy sink. And we're just going to cook that onion for just a couple of minutes. And the thing is, with the pan, you get the set with the 24 and 28. We now have the lids. They weren't available, but now they are, and we've got them on the website. But also, hello, if you love my wok, it's also got the fabulous 30 centimetre lid. So check it out on the website now. I know, we're very happy to have them available to you. Now, this recipe, you do take a little bit longer for some of it to do, and I don't want to be here all day with you because I know you're busy gals and guys, and so I don't want to hold you up. So just bear with me as I go along. I might just get a little bit ahead of you at the end, but that's okay. All right, so now we've done our onion and garlic. Smells amazing. We're now going to throw in the tomatoes. In we go. All the tomatoes. And we're going to reduce that down because we're going to also add the herbs in as well. But I'm just going to mix that together for a minute. Now this serves 4 people, okay? So it's enough for 4, and I would probably just serve it in my fry pan to my dinner guests, or if you've got a fabulous bowl, you can just tip it all in. But it is one of those ones that's meant to be kind of communal, like it's the whole sharing thing, where everyone gets in with their bread, their crusty bread or whatever they're having with it. And I'm now going to add in the herbs, which was a cup of the basil and the oregano. Whoops. And they will reduce down quite a lot. But look at the colours. It's the beautiful reds and the greens. Oh, the smells that are going to come out. Your neighbours are going to be knocking on your door going, "What are you cooking for dinner, honey? I'm coming over." So just all you're doing is mixing them through. And you just cook that off. So we cook it for about 4 minutes, 5 minutes. So let's put the lid on. Let's put the lid on, and we're just going to let that cook for itself, and then we'll add in the other ingredients. Now, with this recipe, traditionally, as I said, it's quite high in fat. So the versions that you would normally have would be lots of oil and butter in the beginning. They would also add, as I said, a lot of feta. And so traditionally, it would be about 25 to 30 grams of fat for a serve, but hello, I don't do it that way. I've got the healthy, low saturated fat way, and it's only 2.9 grams of fat. I know, it's fabulous. Now, if you were interested when I said in the beginning how you could change it from the 400 grams of the raw prawns to chicken, then what you would do is cook your chicken first. So you get 500 grams of skinless chicken breast. And then you would pan fry it off first, take it out, yeah? And then add it in at the end where you normally would the prawns, okay? So we add in now the water, half a cup of water. Now we're adding some plonk in, so we want half a cup of dry white wine. No swigging for the cook. Put the lid back on. We're going to put the olives in. And the tomato paste. Now we want 4 tablespoons because we want this to be tomato decadence. So 4 tablespoons. Just remember, of course, that my tablespoons are 15 ml. Now, how many was that? Are you watching? Because that was 2. 3 and 4. And I'm using the no added salt tomato paste because I really like that because it's very good for our heart health and low sodium. Now I'm going to add in the chilli. This is your option. I'm adding 1/4 teaspoon of chilli. It really just gives it a little bit of heat, not much at all, so don't be too worried about it. Let's chuck in some cracked pepper, and then I'm going to mix this all up. Oh my gosh, I wish I could say something in Greece, in the Greek language. I don't know any Greek. Does anyone know how to say fabulous? Can anyone know how to say fabulous in Greek? No one's saying no. So mixing this all up, and you'll let this cook. Let those tomatoes soften and the flavours get in. Now, I've got to tell you why I did this recipe. Am I allowed to tell you stories? You know I love stories, and we've got to wait for this to cook. So let's put the lid on. Might just turn that down a wee bit. But my beautiful son-in-law, Chris, is half Greek. And he said to me, Mama, could you do the Symanaki prawns? Because we love it. And I think other people would love a healthy version, because normally when you look at that dish, traditionally done, it has all this oil sitting on the top. Oh no, I'm sorry, I do not do that at Simply Too Good. And so when I made it and cooked it for him, he was like smacking his chops. He was really, really happy. So this one's for you, my gorgeous son-in-law, Chris, and for all of you guys as well, of course. Now remember, this recipe, Symanaki Prawns, is on the website, and it can be frozen. It serves 4. Now, if you're doing it with the prawn, it's only 2.9 grams of fat a serve, and the chicken, if you did the 500 grams of chicken instead of the prawn, is 4.3 grams of fat. So you'll see here that it tells you at the bottom of the recipe, it has the 2 different variations. And I love this dietitian tip here. She says bread is a good option. However, having this dish with pasta provides a low GI meal because the food is absorbed more slowly and the blood glucose levels are more stable. Who knew? So if you're a diabetic, for example, you'd be loving that tip, wouldn't you? You're welcome. All right, so let's lift the lid. Woohoo! Oh yes. Symanaki prawns coming at ya. Now, you might want to cook this a little bit longer, but hello, we're on the show. I'm going to jump ahead, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to add in the prawns. So what happens is you put the raw prawns in, and this will cook in the sauce. I know, fabulous. 400 grams. And see, they're, you know, I don't like the tail on them. If you want to be fancy, you could do them with the tail, and then everyone's got to try and get them, break them off as they eat, so it depends on what you want to do. And then just fold them in, and they will cook. We probably take about 3 or 4 minutes to just cook those prawns. And then all we have left to do is toss in the feta. So I'm, once again, putting my lid back on. Hello, thank you, NeoFlam. And while we're waiting for that, why don't we talk about next week's show? Because, well, actually, let's go to Thursday, because I'm back in a couple of days. Hello, you know where to find me. And I'm making a great home-style recipe. It's out of book 4, and I'm making the chicken, homestead chicken pie. I know, it's fabulous, and it's not a normal pie. It's got a twist to it, so you need to watch on Thursday, and I'll be making that for you, and I think your family would love it. I know mine do. But next Tuesday, I'm going into something the whole family will love. Yes, it is. It's spaghetti bake. Not just spaghetti bolognese, it's spaghetti bake. Who doesn't love a bake? And it's spaghetti. Hello, it's fabulous. And that is out of book 5. So I'll be making that next Tuesday. So you know the recipe will be on the website for you. You need to go in, download it, buy the ingredients, and we'll make it together. Yeah? I think that's a great idea. Now, if you would like to win today, hello, book 7. If you haven't got it, why haven't you? It's fabulous. I mean, it has a gluten-free section in here as well as burgers. A whole section on burgers, because I'm an Aussie, I love my burger. So you've got 2 different sections that aren't in the other books. So this is book 7. You can win it. All you have to do is like and share, and then in the comments, hello, get your phone out or your camera, take a photo of your Symanaki prawns or Symanaki chicken, put it in the comments and you could be a lucky winner. That's how easy it is. I mean, oh gosh, look at this. Oh wow, those prawns are looking fabulous. And this way, what I like about doing it like this is the prawns will be juicy and fresh. I mean, I just think I maybe have some Greek in me that I didn't know about, because this is a bit fabulous. I mean, who knew weight loss could be so delicious and healthy with this dish? I know, you're welcome. Get your feta, drop it in. It will absorb into the sauce. The heat will help soften it. And I tend to just push it in. Oh, look at this. I'm not going to serve it up for you. I'm going to leave it like that because this is fabulous. There you go. Symanaki prawns. Too easy. Just chop up, chuck in the pot and cook it. Thanks for joining me. And remember, take your photo and I'll be able to maybe pick you as a winner. I'll see you on Thursday, guys. Take care. And remember, simplytoogood.com.au is where you'll go to get next week's recipe. Take care. Bye now. Ooh, yum.